हाँ तो मेरे भाई और बहनों और दुश्मनों, आ जाओ एक बात करेंगे आज। क्या बात करेंगे मुझे खुद नहीं पता, मैं भूल जाता हूँ। Alright, anyway, we're going to be discussing Jupiter retrograde. So Jupiter is going to enter into the sign of Cancer from October 18th. And specifically on November 11th is going to start retrograding all the way till March 11th. But specifically on December 18th, it goes back into the sign of Gemini. So from October 18th to December 18th is going to be, or maybe around that date, I'm not sure exactly when, it's going to be in the sign of Cancer. Now, does this mean that, oh my God, Jupiter is in Cancer, it's exalted? Welcome. How is this going to play out? Well, the thing is, it's going to mainly, play out for those people who are having their birthdays between October 18th to November 13th. Because during that time period, the Varshafal, the yearly chart known as Varshafal, will have Jupiter exalted in their chart, including for the next year as well. After June, then for everybody it'll be exalted. Right? So people who have these birthdays, they'll have Jupiter exalted for 2 years. Those are the main people that really see the full effect of this Jupiter, because from 13 onwards, like I said, is going to start retrograding. So that means in your Varshafal, from November 13th, if you were born to, I believe, December 18th, it's retrograde effect of the Jupiter in your Varshafal. But now, how does this Jupiter help everybody? Everybody wants to know, how is it going to help you? So Jupiter is in Cancer, right? From October 18th all the way till December 18th. And especially December 13th is retrograde. So what happens is Jupiter goes into Cancer, like, okay, I'm in Cancer. My speed is so fast between 2023 to 2030. It is 7-year long of speed of Jupiter, where it's going to quickly go around signs. It's going to change lives of people. Why? Because Jupiter is Jiva. Jiva as in anything that breathes oxygen. So this is not going to apply to those snails that they found in the Mariana Trench who are breathing the volcanic carbon dioxide and all of that through iron, because they have an iron shell. This does not apply to you. So don't watch my video. Okay, you can subscribe, but this is not going to be for you. Okay? But what happens is Jupiter is going to be in Cancer for this for a while. So now what it does when it's in Cancer and now it retrogrades, it's taking that essence of Cancer and retrograde. So you see how the sign of Gemini of 1 year with this Jupiter gets divided. It says first half, I'm really going to be focused on Gemini. But the second half till May, end of May of 2026, I am going to be in Gemini after December 18th, but I am coming back from being in Cancer. That means I'm always going to strive towards that particular sign, because I'm looking like, especially if you start moving backwards, you're still looking at that particular thing. Something is pushing you backwards. But you're taking that essence of Cancer and now you're infusing that in the sign of Gemini. And especially Jupiter is going to be retrograding in the nakshatra of Punarvasu. And with Punarvasu nakshatra, this is the nakshatra of Brahma. Okay, this is the nakshatra of Brahma. Because this is the Brahma Trimurti. And in that case, once we also see where moon, which nakshatra and sign moon will be in the day it enters, will also give us the entire theme for this Jupiter to enter into Punarvasu until March 11th, when it then goes back towards this Pushya degree, which will be, of course, once it actually enters into Cancer around 3 degrees, 3.35 degrees. Okay. So remember, it's not Aditi, the nakshatra lord or nakshatra diti of Punarvasu. We already know that's different. It's Brahma. It's a different concept. Okay? Which I don't want to bore you with too much details. I want to get straight to the point. Moon at that point, when Jupiter enters, will be in Uttara Falguni Nakshatra. Now, because of the zones, in India, Moon's degree will be different. In US, Moon's degree will be different. In India, it may enter at different point. In US, it will enter at the different point. But because Moon will be in Uttara Falguni, which is a Shiva, it's a Shiva Trimurti Nakshatra, even though it's controlled by Aryaman or Bhaga, because they both keep switching in this nakshatra. It is going to be Brahma as well as Shiva. So Brahma is the creator, Shiva is the destroyer. So what happens? Suddenness happens. Sudden creativity that takes out what is not needed to bring in something new. That is the concept of this particular transit of Jupiter. Okay. So now, when Jupiter is retrograding, like I said, this particular retrograde is actually something that people will feel is much better than what previous Jupiter retrogradation was last year. Because now Jupiter is taking that quality of Cancer. Gemini is all about communication. Gemini is all about dealing with the duality of change. Because Gemini also represents a change of seasons. And it's literally happening when, especially in US, you are now going from summer to fall. So change is naturally there. So the way I'm going to show this here. Now, what else is affecting this Jupiter? Saturn. Saturn is sitting in the sign of Jupiter, slowing the Pisces part of Jupiter down. So when Jupiter is retrograde, okay, Saturn's essence also speeds up. We know Saturn is retrograde right now. But a retrograde planet is even faster, right? So it's going to speed up Saturn as well in your chart. But I'm not going to go towards Saturn because then it's going to be a much longer video. But just know that I'm... Okay, Stewie, I'll add Saturn too. Yeah, see, the dog's barking. So I said, no, add it. I'll add it on my Karis vlogs, okay? All right, Stewie. Easy, buddy. So, but whatever I say here, I'm automatically taking that particular placement of Saturn in Pisces, and that's how I'm going to be telling you what's happening for each ascendant. Okay? But I'm going to be talking about the more of the remedial part of this on Karis vlogs, probably tomorrow morning. That what is it, how is it that you can keep this essence of exalted Jupiter, which is going to retrograde, and by December it'll be in Gemini, how you can keep that going. That's the important part. So I'll discuss that on Karis vlogs, but here I will discuss what Jupiter is going to be doing in this particular time period from Cancer to Gemini. So this is the birth chart, right? This is the ascendant, the very first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house, ninth house, 10th house, 11th house, 12th house. So obviously Jupiter is right now here, and then on October 18th it's going to enter Cancer, and it's gonna be here until December 18th, when it finally on the 18th evening it goes back into Gemini, and it'll be retrograde here till March 11th, I believe, of 2026. Okay, so this is how journey of Jupiter is going to be taking place. So literally you can see from October 18th to December 18th, it's going to be in this sign of Cancer. around this particular time period. I don't know exactly what the date is. Okay. And if you want to know, especially your Varshafal and all those reading, including I might actually bring a D20 reading, Vim Samsa reading. You can check out the links here, karasastrology.com, where you'll find my books, reports, consultations. Otherwise, let's get started with the video. So for Aries ascendant, Jupiter is entering in the 4th house. Guru is coming into the 4th house. What happens when a Guru comes in the 4th house? You start cleaning the house. You start purifying the house. Right? You got any meat or anything in your home, you'll be like, okay, let's just get it out till Guruji's here. So you naturally see till December or till I would say November 11th. Aries people will try to make the home purified. Aries people will suddenly have a really big heart and big emotions towards wanting to do something for people. Not overdo it. That overdoing part will happen from November 11th to December 18th till it's in Cancer. Because after that it's in Gemini, back retrograde. But that retrogression will then make you overdo things, over helping people, getting overly emotional about mother, getting overly emotional about, especially for female, there will be this sudden burst of desire, especially for single women, desire to wanting to have their home. I want to be a family person. I want to be a mother and a wife, and I want to come home to a family. A lot of these emotions comes into play. But see, Jupiter, because 4th house is the heart, this center. Jupiter coming here is going to open up this center in the most meanest of people. Like this is a time period actually, if you've got an enemy who has Jupiter going into the 4th house for this time period. Okay, you're dealing with some legal issue with someone. This would be the time if you were to negotiate. They'll be like, fine, this is good. Let's get it over with. Because once it starts retrograding, okay, that enemy will start reevaluating. Wait a second, maybe I shouldn't be helping. Maybe I shouldn't be so emotional. But the thing is, while it's in Cancer, retrograde Jupiter overdoes things. Remember, a retrograde planet will overdo things to whatever its essence is. Okay? And one will take time in purifying everything because Saturn is in Pisces. So this is a time period where naturally a person is going to desire an open space. You're going to clear a lot of clutter out. Because Jupiter is space tattva. When it's in the 4th, a person likes light and space in their home. Okay? Then for rest of the Gemini time period, it's going to be in retrograde. So you're going to have to repeatedly communicate with your siblings, or overall communication will have to be done because Jupiter is not the planet that likes to rush. It's not a fast moving planet. It's a slow moving planet. Okay. So because Jupiter is in the fast sign of Gemini, it's naturally fast. You will feel like you're forced to communicate in an untimely manner with untimely people. And like you'll send messages when you shouldn't be sending. You'll be forced to send some message, emails, communications. It'll happen on a general basis. What happens with it, you have to see the chart. Okay, because I'm not going to be we need to have like 18 million combinations and discussing just as one Aries part. Also, one will have to do repeated tries, especially to learn something, comprehend some things, understand some things. When you read, let's say, some book during this time period, you may not comprehend it first time. You will miss a lot of keywords. Then when you go over, because it's in Punarvasu, Return of the Lights, do that thing over again. Do that thing over again, you will get those missing words. Read your email several times before you send it. Your text message before you send it. You will realize, wait a second, this text message sounds really rude. I gotta change it. Okay. Any travels you're going to make, because people with Jupiter retrograde in the third house will love making sudden, abrupt travel without much planning. They're like, oh, no, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. And then when the time comes, like, okay, so what about this? Okay, what about this? Then suddenly at the last minute, some plan has to change. Trip may still happen, but whatever you were planning properly will not take place. So repeatedly go over your plans during this time. For Taurus, it's going to be in the third house. Having a emotional connection with your sibling is going to becomes very important during this time. Okay. This individual will naturally also love to travel to places where they can increase their wisdom, increase their knowledge. A lot of Taurus people will be like, maybe I can attend this class. Maybe I can go to the temple or Gurdwara. Let me go and see this conference call and see what I can get through it. And you will get something valuable through it. When it retrogrades, while it's in Cancer, you're going to participate over every other person who's in that communication. During its retrogression, you'll be the one mostly calling the siblings versus them calling you, unless your sibling also is a Taurus ascendant. They'll be like, okay, what's up with this over communication here? They won't say it, but they'll feel that. And especially because third house will also represent your co-workers. Naturally, during this time period, one begins to have an open heart towards their co-workers. Here, let me help you out. No, this is how you do it. Even though you weren't so helpful because of the office politics and rivalry. But here, it will open up that channel. When it retrogrades, you will overly help them. More than what they needed, you will help them with that. And it's all the third house significance. Especially Jupiter in the third house, while it's not retrograde, okay, your little efforts will bring in great results. When it's retrograde, 3 times the effort will bring in good results. And then when it goes into the sign of Gemini, you're going to begin to reevaluate your financial positions in life. You're going to get perhaps money that may have been owed to you from some unknown place. Suddenly some tax checks comes in that you never even knew, okay, that you need. On the other hand, you may get some insurance money coming in. Again, it's Punarvasu, return of the light. Second house is wealth and money. Jupiter is retrograde there with Punarvasu energy, which makes you do things repeatedly, which is a good thing that a person will refine their finances till March 11th. You will cut a lot of things out. You will realize the light of Aditi will show you that this is missing, this is missing. But the thing is, because of the Brahma and Shiva Trimurti, you will make sudden decisions related to finance. And that's something you should watch for. Sudden decision towards making some sudden investments. Okay, but also overly doing things, overly communicating with the family members about your finances, about other things that may not be so great. Okay, because we don't know, because I need to know your birth Jupiter to really see the good and bad part. That will determine if the Jupiter in the second house will be giving good results to a Taurus ascendant person. But the thing is, this particular member is taking the essence of Cancer, going into the sign of Gemini. So a person begins to see the light and they're repeatedly able to make sudden efforts towards gaining more money in their bank account. Especially retrograde Jupiter in the second house, appetite will rise. One will overeat. Because remember, Jupiter is, when it's retrograde, it's expanding. When it's retrograde, it's expanding like an Ashtalakshmi, 8 folds. Or you can say 3 folds. It's 3 folds. When a retrograde planet is there, 3 times its power. So your appetite rises, and without even knowing that you're just overeating during this time. And usually Taurus people are very easy to gain weight. Taurus and Cancer, these are 2 ascendants. Their body will fluctuate very easily, and that body loves to store fat. Okay. Then let's look at Gemini. So for Gemini, Jupiter is going to be in Cancer till November 11th, then retrogrades till December 18th, and then December 18th onwards till March, it'll be in Gemini, back into your ascendant. Okay, so here Jupiter is first of all going to make you feel very expansive towards your income and money. Like suddenly a person finds motivation that, hey, I got to make big money. The person who was just doing simple job in some IT company begins to look for other opportunities during this time period. Now, if your dasha and antra dashas and other things are there, yeah, you may be able to get that. And then from November 11th to December 18th, you will see it becomes 3 times the energy. You're like, I must make this money. You will try to connect with your family, overdoing connection with the family, okay, for that time period. And you will overeat during that time period. Your appetite will rise like the Taurus ascendant. Because both of you are having somehow Jupiter connection with the second house, especially in Cancer. So you will see the face swells up a little bit. Little bit of eating. Jupiter, during this time, whatever you eat, it loves to store things around your body, which will show through the face. This is why back in the days, Ayurvedic doctors just looked at your face and saw what was happening. Do you have a fatty liver, or do you have this, or do you have that? Do you have a kidney issue? Nowadays, you have to be sitting in a machine, 2 or 3 different machines to understand all these things, or taking blood out. Now, then it's going to retrograde from December 18th all the way till March 11th into the sign of Gemini retrograde, and then it'll go direct. So here a person, when Jupiter retrogrades back into the sign of Gemini, will begin to over-communicate. You will see that your desire to be heard becomes 3 times stronger than in any other time. This is a time period you will see many people will feel like, I need to be on social media. I need to open up my social media account. And the thing is, though, with Jupiter, when it's in Gemini, a Gemini ascendant person will talk extremely quick. Okay. Also during this time period, lot of, especially for married couple, lot of strategies will come through your spouse. But your childlike attitude may ignore it. But remember, Jupiter is in Aditi, the return of the light. And especially for Gemini men, if a wife gives suggestion, repeatedly think about it. And repeat. If you fail the first time, it's okay. Aditi is about repeated efforts to get that light. So make that repeated efforts towards that light. But also remember what I said. This is a Brahma Nakshatra, Brahma Trimurti Nakshatra. And moon will be in Shiva. So sudden dietary change will happen. Sudden bodily alignments. You will try to manage most of your bodily alignments. Like a person will suddenly have a dietary change, which is not in the second house, it's more in the ascendant, because that's your overall body. One will make repeated efforts towards grooming and making themselves more presentable than before. That's what happens. Like a Gemini ascendant may be an untidy person. Let's say your moon is in Durvasa, in Dreshkam. You'll be just untidy. You'll just be like me, just whatever you wear, you go out. Here now, Jupiter is like, I need to look like the light of Brahma and Aditi. You will buy something new for yourself, new clothes for yourself, to be presentable even at work, because Jupiter is now controlling all your 10th house as well. But of course, his main result is going to be with the Sagittarius sign, because it's in a masculine sign in Gemini. While it's in Cancer, it's going to be more affecting the 10th house. Then for Cancer ascendant. So Jupiter is going to be in your ascendant, your Lagna. So here you will see Because especially with this exalted position, people begin to look at you as this guide, this divine hope. Not a guru, just this person will give me hope. And a person feels like I need to give as much knowledge as possible. Whether, let's say, you are just a normal, simple person working in office, nothing, you're not some celebrity or some influencer, you will start giving advice to every single person out there. And the reason why you become more of a motivational person here than any other nakshatra in Cancer, because this is Aditi, return of the light, right? So what a motivational speaker does? What they do is that person who's in darkness, trying to bring them in light. So your words will change. Remember, Punarvasu words with Jupiter in Pushya will be totally different. In Pushya, Jupiter says it once, like take it or leave it. This is my word. In Punarvasu, Jupiter's like, here, let me tell you again. This is what's happening. Okay? Jupiter here can suddenly bring access to new loans. Jupiter will suddenly it'll reignite your desire towards divinity far more than rest of the year. If you weren't following your divinity, your divinative path, you'll be like, I need to do it. Then once it retrogrades till December 18th, it'll be 3 times the effect of that. So whatever I've said, it becomes even more. You become very intense towards that Jupiter in the ascendant. For that 1 week, it's like you're bursting with that motivational desire inside. That let me just bring a change. Let me do something for people. Let me do something for others. Once it's retrograde into the 12th house, in the sign of Gemini, here now a Cancer person goes back to attain more information. They will, like for example, they will repeatedly go back and start studying things that they may have studied before, just because they're thinking I may have missed something. Jupiter will make the person give more money in donations than before. Jupiter here, especially in the 12th house, if you are making investments before, you might triple your investments now. Not like investments going to be triple. Your contribution to your investments will triple till March 11th, because it's going to be retrograde till that time. And especially because it's going to be in Punarvasu Nakshatra. Okay? It shows that repeated effort that you're doing towards, especially with Jupiter in the 12th, you'll give knowledge for free. You'll have to give something for free to really get that essence of Jupiter and to really align with that Jupiter's essence. So if you donate somewhere $10, you will start to do, let's say, $30. But here, Jupiter will also show, because it's fast, naturally in its pace of movement, it's in a quick moving sign like Gemini. It's in that repeated efforts of Aditi Punarvasu. And it's Brahma the creator. You will create new ways to take away your debt and to take away your obstacles and enemies. And especially if you fail at something the first, try it again, because that is what Jupiter is saying. That I cannot give you something the first time. Go again, and I'll get this thing approved. Go again, I will get this thing over for you. Now, again, will it be over with these repeated tries? We have to see your own particular chart. Where is the original Jupiter sitting? Because that's the secret of transit. And especially if Jupiter in your Pratyantar Dasha is over a planet, then of course, more analysis and prediction comes into play. Okay? But this is what Jupiter is going to be doing for the Cancer individual. Now let's talk about Leo. So for Leo, it's going to be in Cancer from October till December. And from November, is going to retrograde till December 18th. Then it moves into Gemini. So while it's in Cancer, the Leo person will suddenly desire, I want to go to foreign lands. I feel a person becomes motivated to have a visa. They will go for their visa. They will go start applying for work, even though they know they may not have any chance. Because it's that light of Guru that is coming. And because it's in Punarvasu, you'll be like, I'm gonna repeatedly do this. I'm gonna apply to this country, that country, that country. Also, this person will desire to especially spend more money on their social circles. Spend more money on their network circles. And especially because Jupiter is exalted for this small time period in the 12th house, some great opportunity for investment can come in for Leo ascendant. Now, once it goes back into the 11th house, with the Punarvasu energy, with the Brahma Trimurti, while Shiva Trimurti is there during the moon's entrance of its sign of its entrance in the sign of Cancer. So during this time period, you will see your entire focus and obsession towards becomes how, number one, how do I gain more? But number two, I need to make more social circles. I need to make more network circles. And you will repeatedly go to different places, different spots. You'll make repeated efforts to make the right connections so you can gain in life. Because why? You're the king. Leo ascendant, right, Rambo? Hi, Rambi. I know, Rambo, you're sleepy. He's my sleepy buddies. He doesn't sleep without me. I don't sleep without him. So, yeah, he's waiting because it's late. But I'm still awake. I just had cappuccino, bro. I'm going to be awake. I got to make this video. Okay. The other thing with Gemini, you will suddenly feel during this retrograde Jupiter that I must fulfill this desire, this desire, this desire. Something that you may have been holding off. Because Jupiter is expanding its energy in the 11th. Especially threefolds. So if something you really wanted for the past 4 months, 5 months for just delaying on it, this particular Jupiter is going to make you get that thing. That especially that you can afford, you will fulfill that desire. But see, the only problem is desires threefolds. Till March, one feels, and this can again, when your desires don't get fulfilled, that's when depression comes in, right? And this is where Leo has to be careful. That they have to control how much am I desiring from this. Like you'll be like, okay, I'm going to go for a new job. And I need to make 3 times as much as I'm making here. And you're so hopeful because again, Jupiter is retrograde. It's not able to control, its expansion in your consciousness. And when you're like, oh my God, I got an interview from there. And then you find out that it's only, instead of your current salary, just 1.5 more. Or so it's like 0.5% more. Okay, it's not twice as much. It's just 0.5 times as much than what you're making. And it'll be like, And this is where you don't want to be in that particular position. But repeated efforts of Punarvasu will get you to a certain point. Okay. Then we come to Virgo. So for Virgo, it's going to enter the 11th house in Cancer. This is going to be the period of social gatherings. This is going to be the period of attaining bonuses. This is going to be the period where a lot of people will begin to recognize you and you will meet very important, high quality people, meaning people who are extremely educated. They will come into your connection. And when it goes retrograde, you will desire to wanting to make more people, wanting to know more people. You will overly communicate with those people that you just met. So some people may kind of retract back. They're like, okay, this person's too much because once it's retrograde in Cancer, now that retrograde energy for literally that 1 week while it's in Cancer will feel like, let me ask this person this question. Let me call this person and see if they want to meet here. Let me make that repeated effort. Then when it retrogrades back into the 10th house, is going to help in your career, because the connections that you would make during this time, the information that you will gain during this time, because again, it is an air sign, original air sign for Virgo. 11th house is Aquarius, even though it's Cancer here. You will attain some information which is now going to be helping you in your workspace area. And here you will see, you will begin to do things many, many times over. Like for example, workload will increase 3 times over till March. And especially this year, Virgo have been overly worked. Out of all the ascendant, Virgo will be overly worked. But now Jupiter is like, that's not enough. Let's put it in the 3rd gear. Let's give you more. But because it's in Punarvasu while it's retrograde, that overwork that is coming is ultimately going to give you the light. It's ultimately going to lead you to a better, higher place. But you will fail in your career part. Some failure happens, but do not back off from that failure that, okay, time to move on. No, go back and do it again. When you go back and do it again, that spontaneity of Shiva and Brahma will actually get you through to a certain point. Will it get you fully? You have to know your chart for that. You have to know exactly what's happening in the horoscope. Otherwise, these transits will just work for all the 8 billion people. It doesn't work that way. Okay. The other thing for Virgo ascendant, if let's say while Jupiter is in Punarvasu goes over Venus, if you kind of lost connection with somebody from work who you thought you could have a relationship with, they might actually come back. So you can have that relationship again with them. These situations happen. Like you may have thought somebody at work may have liked you, you kind of like them, but then they've shifted, moved, something happened, they're on a different floor now. But if just Jupiter, while it's retrograding in Punarvasu for Virgo ascendant in the 10th house, that person at work might come back again to interact with you. And in that case, you can make repeated effort to make sure that person sees your side. Okay. Then for Libra, so for Libra people, Jupiter is going to be in the 10th house. So here, for small little while, you get praises from the bosses. You learn a lot of things from your bosses and your work. You feel like your career is expanding. And when it goes retrograde, you will feel like now that it's expanding, I'm going to do more. So it expands more. But just note, from December 18th, it's going to go back into Gemini, into your 9th house. Okay? Which is 9th house of wisdom, learning, bosses, father. And so here, what happens is that when Jupiter goes back into the 9th house, you will now go back and you will feel like, okay, I need to learn something new. And I'm going to have to put repeated efforts, because that's what Jupiter is going to do in Punarvasu. Make you put repeated efforts into learning something new, which is much higher than what you have learned before, because 9th house is the higher learning. So you will put repeated efforts towards higher learning because you are focusing towards advancing in the career part. You're not just learning something just because your wisdom can go high. No, because Jupiter is carrying that essence from the 10th house in Cancer to the 9th house. So 9th house says what's happening behind the scenes. Here, a person with Libra ascendant will suddenly desire to know, how do things really work behind the scenes in order for me to excel here? It could be many, many things. Like you could be in tech sales, IT sales, right? And you're like, I want to know, how is it that this part works from behind the scenes? They never really tell us much. Now you're going to make repeated efforts to know how the machinery works in the back end. So now you can improve your career in the front end. You will also see repeated communications and repeated trial and errors will happen with the father. Your father will, because remember, Jupiter is coming back Your father is going to somehow need you, so you have to kind of retract back from the point of the profession to help the father, if father is alive. Or somebody who was your mentor may have left, you lost connections with them. That mentor kind of returns in your life. And it'll be sudden, because remember, Brahma and Shiva. The spontaneous return of a mentor or teacher happens in your life. Next is going to be Scorpio. Then Scorpio ascendant. So Jupiter is going to enter this October 18th into your sign of Cancer. Will be there till November 11th when it starts retrograding back. And it'll enter Gemini on December 18th. So while it's in Cancer till November 11th, while it's not retrograde, there is this sudden curiosity with Jupiter, or I'm sorry, with the Scorpio ascendant that, hey, I need to go and take a pilgrimage. I want to go and understand something higher than myself. Even the atheist in secretive matter will be like, maybe there's something to God. Maybe humans are not that intelligent. Okay, because even an atheist has some dharma. They themselves have some dharma. Whether they believe in science or they think there's nothing here, there is that dharma there. But here with Jupiter, with the return of the light of Punarvasu and the creation of Brahma with the destruction of Shiva, as I explained in the beginning of the video, they will try to create something. The Scorpio individual will desire to create, to know something higher than themselves. And they will desire to make a repeated efforts between November 11th and November or December 13th or December 18th. Because Jupiter is then going to give 3 times the energy when it's retrograde. You're going to overdo in terms of wanting to know something higher. Like for new students who are trying to attain their higher education, suddenly that motivation comes in that I'm going to apply to the best of the best university. Fine, I don't have the right grades. That boldness is there. That everything will work out. And when it's retrograde, you feel like it's not just going to work out, it has already happened. That's the mindset that it has. But then December, it comes back into the 8th house with the essence of Cancer. So for Scorpio, this Jupiter transit will feel like nothing just works out. This far, Scorpio people, unless some planet is there doing something, then it's a different thing. Like one could be getting sudden money. But usually that hope feels empty in a Scorpio ascendant life during this entire year. But now they have a motivation towards that hope. That hope actually has some strength to it, meaning to it, because retrograde Jupiter from Cancer is coming back into Gemini. Saying that I'm actually in Cancer now. I'm in Cancer. That's where I'm just now retrograding for quite a long time in Gemini, but I'm going to eventually move towards Cancer. So they bring hope. Now for Scorpio people, that feeling of nothing is working out will feel like, no, let me put repeated effort and things will happen. Things will work out. You will especially see that there will be repeated invitation with the in-laws. Maybe you don't talk to your in-laws. Suddenly they will be trying to make some repeated efforts towards wanting to connect with you. Maybe your spouse will be like, why don't we connect with them? Because remember, this is Aditi, return of the light. If you do make that connection with the in-laws, or you make that secret phone call to somebody that you were no longer in connection with, there is going to be the light. Meaning something great comes out of that particular placement of that retrograde Jupiter. But at the same time, with they'll, especially with Jupiter here, one will make, now this is where Scorpio has to be careful. This particular person can get a little bit of a taste of success in stock market during this time, and they'll feel like, okay, I'm going to do it. And the thing is, this Jupiter then can give repeated failures. So if you're seeing some success during this time period related to stocks, sports betting, crypto, Don't think it's going to last, because once Jupiter retrogrades into Gemini, you will keep that hope alive that no, it'll happen. But in that, you will repeatedly see the failures before you see that one good streak of gains. Okay. And especially with Jupiter in the 8th in Punarvasu, but especially Brahma Trimurti. This person will secretly be creating something for next year. When Jupiter goes into the 9th, which is the house of luck, these people are going to be now they have now motivation. Even they're like, okay, I don't care if nothing works out. I'm going to work on this particular thing that I'm working on. Whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's somebody who's working in any job, you're going to find, like I said, you're going to find that hope, and you're going to make repeated efforts towards transforming something, changing something. You will repeatedly go over some secret documents during this time. Hidden documents will come to you. That will give you some light. You're trying to trade some crypto, and then you suddenly come across some document that, oh, there's something bigger than Bitcoin. Nobody knows about it. I'm just I'm exaggerating this too much. I hope you do find it. Do let me know, so I'll purchase them as well. But this is the time period where a light will come through repeated efforts towards information. You're trying to get some information. Don't quit. Keep going after that information. You'll get that information. Okay. Then Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius people, Jupiter is going to be in the 8th house in Cancer between October 18th to November 11th. Then it starts retrograding, and by December 18th, it will retrograde back into the sign of Gemini. Till March, it'll be retrograde. So first of all, here Jupiter in the 8th house, where it's exalted, okay, the person will naturally feel like they're going to transform themselves. Because Sagittarius person, you will see, they're constantly looking for transformation. They're constantly looking for a change. For them, they cannot have a still life. Like, okay, I'm just here. I'm an IT professional. I'm just here in this one company. No, they need change. Without change, they'll get depressed. So here, Jupiter brings that expansion of change. But it's for a short period. Okay? And when it's retrograde between November all the way till December, that energy of transformation becomes 3 times as much. So yeah, if you're going through the right dashas and all that, sudden success can happen, sudden transformation can happen in a Sagittarius person's life. This is also the period suddenly you will hear from your in-laws that we just bought this big thing, we bought this plot of land, we gained this much money, or something about expansion in your in-laws' life you will hear. During this time also, you will see your mother becomes overly religious, but also overly interested in things like occult. But especially while it's retrograde. When it comes back into Gemini, then that craze kind of comes down. But when it comes into Gemini, boy, you're going to have to be very careful how you communicate with your spouse, because once you mess up one thing, you'll have to repeatedly fix what you just said to your spouse. And especially for Jupiter being in the 7th house in Gemini, you will see spouse, because for Sagittarius person, their spouse loves to talk, loves to communicate, loves to always chatter. Here it's going to be overdoing it. By overdoing it, they will say something wrong to people that can also cause issues in your life. Maybe let's say you're not on social media. Your spouse is on social media. Says something. Now the people are trying to cancel the spouse. Now it affects you because your company finds out your spouse said this. So you need to advise your spouse. Don't do over communication. Don't talk about anything, especially online. Now in personal things, because Jupiter is retrograde and it's Aditi, Punarvasu, you will repeatedly try to tell your spouse not to make this mistake, and then they can still make that mistake. And when that happens, this is where that haywire of communication can happen. So be careful when it comes to the communication marriage. And especially 7th house is paraprapti, meaning ability to get a higher distinction in life. Promotion time is coming up. Don't overtalk. Don't try to over-impress your bosses by overly saying a lot of things. Just control that particular communication. Because it is going to then affect your promotion. But also in terms of promotion, if you fail the first time that you didn't get the promotion, try repeatedly. Go find out. Why didn't I get this promotion? Tell me what was wrong. Go into all the details. What they said, this and this happened, and this is why we are not able to. Try to correct that particular part while Jupiter is retrograde. Because corrections need to be corrected when any planet is retrograde. Right? So here's concerning your promotion or new status. So repeatedly make that effort to correct those things because they will be noticed. Because again, it is Aditi, return of the light, and Brahma is going to create something new out of that. And you're going to crush the old ways because of the Shiva nakshatra. Okay. Then Capricorn. So Jupiter from the 6th is going to the 7th. So while it's in Cancer, obviously your spouse's career or life will begin to improve. You'll see like suddenly they feel motivated to do things. You become very hopeful regarding your relationship, marriage if you're single. Yes, this is a time period many people can actually get married. Okay. I'm not saying everyone's going to get married because you have to see certain calculations. If from that calculations, if it's showing that when Jupiter enters Cancer, that's when marriage happens. Yes, that's when marriage happens, but somebody can come in. There's going to be a lot of hope. And when it goes retrograde, between November 11th to December 18th in Cancer, you will overly put effort towards wanting to meet someone. And that's a good thing because here, before you may not be so, enthusiastic enough or have enough zeal to meet someone. Here, you'll be like, no, I'm going to keep trying. But when it goes into Gemini, you'll feel like, okay, the opportunities have really just gone away. But you know what? You will take that motivation of looking for a partner or improving your marriage to now focusing on the work. And especially now your work, your daily routines will have the multiple things that you do, you will overdo them. So if your daily routine requires a 1 mile walk, you'll be doing a 3 mile walk. If in your daily routines you drink 2 cups of coffee or tea, you'll be drinking 4 or 3 cups. The daily routine is going to be on an overdrive. You will also have repeated connections with your relatives and cousins, which you may not have even spoken to before. You will find that connection with them, especially if you're trying to get a loan. You should make repeated efforts to get a loan and you'll get it. Because again, it's Aditi, the return of the light, and Brahma is going to create some opportunity there. Like you're going to be like, I need this so I can create this. That's the main motivation for Capricorn right now, to get any loan, to get any debt. But of course, you always want to be careful not to get nonsensical debt. Not just because you got, some email or something. Like I get legitimate emails of big amounts. Hey, we can send this to your bank account right now to get it. No. If I was 20, I may have made that mistake. Now I'm just like, I've never done it. I don't need it. So this is why you want to be careful. But if let's say you're looking for a house loan, car loan, first time you will fail, second time you may fail, third time you will get it. So if one bank rejects you, say no, let's go to 2 other banks. I want to go for 2 other banks, even though you think everyone will fail me. You will see the Punarvasu Jupiter will give you that. Especially the property loan will happen is if your Saturn right now is affecting your Mercury in transit. Let's say your Mercury is in Pisces. You're looking for that property loan. You will actually get it with a repeated try. Then Aquarius. So for Aquarius, this is going to be entering from 5th house to the 6th house in Cancer between October 18th to November 11th. Then it goes retrograde until December 18th. It'll be retrograde in Cancer. Then it moves back into Gemini for the rest of till March 11th when it goes direct in Gemini. So here, for Aquarius people, you're going to see naturally Jupiter is going to bring more opportunities for work. Your workload increases. That means stress increases. Okay. Suddenly you will see desire to go to the temple or some place of religion on a daily routine will become active. Okay. Daily you'll start wanting to do some sadhana or puja. Jupiter will also start making some form of small talks towards your promotion during this time. Will that happen? We have to see the chart. Not everybody's going to get a promotion during this time. But when it's retrograde, you're going to see in Cancer, your daily routines become 3 times as much. Okay. But especially it's for the good because Jupiter is in Cancer. You're going to overdo things to expand your knowledge on your daily. You'll start reading something on your daily routine. You will see that sudden success will happen in one of your aunts or uncles or cousins' life. They'll get some kind of a promotion. Maybe you'll find that through social media. But then when it retrogrades back into the 5th house, okay, you're going to take that essence of exalted Jupiter into the 5th house in Gemini, where now you're going to repeatedly learn something over and over again. Especially for those people, because Jupiter is in Punarvasu. If you're trying to have a child, give repeated tries. Doesn't matter if it fails. You have till March, because with Aditi, return of the light, if your transits are correct with your dashas, and especially for women who are trying to conceive a child, because you're the one who's going to carry the baby, repeated tries will bring that point of success. Aditi is a very powerful nakshatra and Brahma is the creator. Remember, Brahma nakshatra is here. Brahma is operating. What is the job of Brahma? Is to create us, create everything. Let's create, procreate. So that strong lust becomes active with this Jupiter, especially when it's in the 5th. Okay. Also, repeated efforts towards your children's education will be needed during this time. You will have to put, not them, you will have to get involved and put repeated efforts so they can do better in their education. Then we come to Pisces. So Pisces is going to have Jupiter in the 4th house, and Gemini is now moving into the sign of Cancer in the 5th house between October 18th to November 11th. Then November 11th to December 18th, it'll be retrograde in Cancer. And from December onwards, it'll go back into Gemini till March 11th when it goes direct in Gemini. Okay, so as soon as Jupiter comes into the 5th house, naturally desire to learn becomes active. Sudden desire for wanting to have children, even people or couple who are not focusing on children, sometimes feel like, hey, you want to have a kid? Why don't we plan for a kid? Why don't we try for a kid? And when Jupiter goes retrograde, that energy becomes 3 times as much. You will try. But try, even if you fail. Repeated tries. But of course, repeated tries can only happen once a month during the ovulation time period, right? But it shows that your effort towards children becomes suddenly active. One's focus on their spiritual life becomes completely active and it becomes obsessive between November 11th to December 18th. But once it goes back into the 4th house in Gemini, which is a sign of communication, information, data, that motivations will still carry into the 4th house, where especially now in privacy, you're going to desire to learn knowledge so you can keep yourself happy, because 4th house is happiness. Pisces person, the happiness is always divided into 3 to 4 different places, multiple places that can give them happiness. Here with Jupiter taking the essence of Cancer, then going back into the sign of Gemini, now shows that those multiple places that you tend to find happiness with are naturally expanding for you. Now they're expanding even more because it's retrograde. Now, will it cause health issue and all that? It can cause for any ascendant, but we have to know what dasha and what planet is Jupiter is going to be affecting here. This is why only on the personal basis we see this thing. But here, overall, what we see is that one's heart opens up towards communication. Jupiter opens up your heart. Okay? Hi, Rambo. Jupiter, and especially because it's in Gemini, you're going to be like, you know what? I want to communicate. I want to give knowledge to people. I want to share what I have learned with others. And in a most realistic way, you might share it with your friends, family, parents, spouse. Because you are a deep ocean. You are an ocean of knowledge. Nobody can truly understand the Pisces person. You can only go maybe a mile down throughout life when you're married to a Pisces ascendant person, and it'll take you 7 lifetimes to go to the Mariana Trench of this individual. And also with Jupiter going into the 4th house, multiple things will be purchased for the home. You will purchase, instead of one book, you'll purchase multiple books. Instead of purchasing one idol, you'll purchase multiple idols. Everything related to home will happen in multiplicity. If you're fixing one thing, you're fixing 3 other things at the same time.